Spoilers! Spoilers! The following podcast contains spoilers for The Return of the Living Dead. You have been warned. Brains.
Why
Yes,
the
welcome
fuck
back.
do you have to one-up me like that?
Yes, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glenjamin Button. Not an actual zombie, don't worry, it's going to be okay. Along with your host, Miguel Magusto, the Pirate King.
so upset that you just one-upped me like that. Like
It was the standing position. I got the diaphragm going.
you got the standing power going right now. How you doing?
I am not bad. I'm going to scare you this week. And I know that's the point of Spooktober,
Oh,
but I watched a shit ton of movies, my guy.
I saw. Yeah,
But
I was
first
like,
I asked-
am I you or you me?
I ask how are you doing, though?
I am doing good. Had what I thought was a not movie heavy week, but it looks to be about standard. And my sister got married, so spent a lot of time doing that. Thank you, by the way, for taking care of my precious dog.
I took care of the shit out of that dog.
You did. She was like, I am fed instead of starving, and I went to the bathroom instead of having a full bladder,
Yeah.
and also got to see Glenn.
Yeah,
So
she got pets and everything. It was
she
pretty
did.
great.
Yeah, but I appreciate that. But yeah, you watched a lot of movies this week. Want to talk about them?
I don't want to talk about it, actually.
Oh.
You know. No, I went hard this week. I realized how close it's kind of getting to the new year, but it's weird because at the same time, like I feel like a lot of movies have not come out this year, but I know at the same time, even though they haven't, I still have to catch up on them regardless. So
Yeah.
I kind of was like, I got the time this week. I'm not doing anything. So it all started with Prey. I had honestly thought this was in a different language, which is why it kind of took me so long to just watch it in the first place. But
It kind of is. I'll talk more
kind
about
of
that.
is, yeah. I thought this movie kicked ass. I know the Predator sequels, ever since the one with Arnie, have not been good. I have not watched Predators. Or which one was The Predator? I haven't watched that one, the Shane Black one.
Yeah.
And there was Alien vs. Predator, and all that other ones. But this one is the one that definitely has a standing with the first Predator movie. This one it was just kick ass in every
I think
sense.
the one with Adrian Brody is pretty damn good, personally.
I
Predators.
haven't watched that one in a long time, but I do remember that one being great too.
Yeah.
But like to me, this one like actually has a, if Predator never existed, this would be the one where I was like, holy shit, this movie, fucking top tier.
Yeah, 100%.
Top tier movie.
Yeah. Did
yeah,
you
it
watch
was-
it in English or the Comanche dub?
I did watch it. My attention span can only go so far, so
Yeah.
I watched it in English.
That's perfectly fine.
So there was that. Yeah, this movie was much better than I expected it to be, honestly, even though you said it was good. Yeah, I think the Predator in this looked sick. I really hope that they continue to do period piece Predators like this.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of talk of doing like a Japan piece or sort of like samurai period with Hiroyuki Sanada. They're like, you gotta do it. And with like Ken Watanabe. Why did I say his name like that? That was weird. Watanabe. And how people are just fucking, oh, that's gotta happen. It's gotta happen. That would be sick. I don't think it will, but that'd be sick.
Yeah, it would be.
Speaking of sick, the next movie I watched was called Fresh. It's got Sebastian Stan in it and the actress Daisy Edgar Jones. This was kind of surprisingly good. I didn't expect really anything from this movie. It's about cannibalistic stuff, but I don't want to go too far into some details. Better than you expect. And my review that I put on Letterboxd I thought was very punny. So that's as far as I'll go with that. Then, of course, we saw See How They Run, which you'll have to hear about in the review because I can't speak about it. And then after that, we also watched Pearl, which, again, stop asking questions. I'm not going to tell you about it, okay? And then after that, the next day, I watched a movie on Hulu, I believe. I'm sorry if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, Hulu. Not Okay. Kind of just a random throw-on movie while I was playing some games. Forget about what the title of the movie says. It was pretty much okay. It wasn't just not okay. And then I watched Kimmy, which was very okay. This was one of those like lockdown films, kind of like what felt like a throwaway film of kind of like a Rear Window type style movie. Yeah. The first half was pretty decent for the most part. It wasn't really going anywhere just because they couldn't film too much, I'm assuming, and they had masks on and the whole thing. And they even mentioned COVID. But I mean, I've pretty much made it known how I feel about COVID movies. They're just genuinely really boring.
Yeah.
Some of them have through it. Yeah, some of them have shined through, but like this was just another one where it's just like, okay, like we've lived that life. So this is not really holding up to me in the slightest. For the most part, it was good. But after that, I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was a super random movie that I just put on.
Which one?
The new one on Netflix.
The new one? Okay. Yeah, because there's like 2 remakes and they and the original, and they're all called Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
They never tried to change the movie at all, their name. So for my review on that, I made it pretty simple. There was a Texas, a chainsaw, and a massacre to my eyes.
Check.
I felt that. It's just a lot of millennial domination going on here. Yeah. Not in the kinky kind. Anyway, moving on. The last movie I rewatched was Return of the Living Dead, which we will talk about very soon. But Mike, are you proud of me?
I'm proud of you. You watched more than me this week.
That's pretty crazy.
I think like 1 or 2 more. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I watched a total of 6 movies, and the first one being Shotgun Stories, which is director Jeff Nichols, one of his first movies. For those of you who don't know, Jeff Nichols directed Take Shelter, Mud, Midnight Special, and Loving. And one of his first movies is called Shotgun Stories with Michael Shannon. Really, really good film. I enjoyed it a lot. It's very quiet despite the name. You know, you think it'd be all about shotguns and whatnot.
You would think.
But it's really just about these brothers feuding with their half brothers. Because obviously the brothers, their father left them and like ignored them and had like a normal life with another woman and had 3 or 4 kids with her. So like it's just they're all the main brothers hated the father, the other brothers loved the father, and it's very intriguing. It's very cool, very atmospheric. It takes place in, I want to say, Texas. I'm not entirely sure. Midwest somewhere, maybe south, maybe north. Could have been Ohio, could have been Texas. I know 2 people who live there. They probably don't look alike. But to someone like me, flat is flat. And I know not all of Texas is flat and not all of Ohio is flat, but there's a lot of both that are flat. But yeah, really love that film. Highly suggest people check it out. Then I rewatched X to prepare for when we saw Pearl the next day. Still really enjoy X. It's still funny and terrifying at the same time. Yeah, we have a review for that on YouTube if you want to check that out. Then we saw See How They Run, which we have a review for review on YouTube for that. A nice little whodunit comedy. You can check that out on YouTube. Then we watched Pearl, have a review for that as well on the YouTubes. That is a prequel to X. And I'll say Mia Goth is great in it, but there's good actors in bad movies. So is it good? Is it bad?
Of course.
You'll never know. Then I watched Return of the Living Dead, which we'll get into in just a minute. And then last night, my uncle and I, we went and saw The Woman King. We ran into Benny. And I'm assuming the Jets. But
I hated that. Thank you.
I also hated that. Did I show my age? I'm not even that much older than you, but I feel like that's a very old joke. But we watched The Woman King because it was my uncle's last night in town, and we like to see movies together and then discuss them. Viola Davis, I love Viola Davis. She's my favorite actress. The movie itself was pretty good, but me being an editor, I always watch with like an analytical mindset. It's not edited well. It's a good story, but it's not edited well, and I feel like it has too much filler, personally. But it's still a solid movie. I suggest people check that out. I just didn't like it as much as I was hoping I would. But yeah, that's all I watched. I guess we should get into The Return of the Living Dead.
In the dark of the night, something strange is going on.
You see that movie, Night of the Living Dead?
Sure.
They ship those bodies. Well, say hello.
The dead have risen from the grave.
Mister, there's 100 of those things out there.
How many did you say?
100? And now the question is, how do we get them back into the ground?
When two bumbling employees at a medical supply warehouse accidentally release a deadly gas into the air, the vapors cause the dead to rise again as zombies. Directed by Dan O'Bannon, written by Rudy Ritchie, John A. Russo, and Russell Strainer. It stars Clu Gulager, James Karen, Don Calfa, Tom Matthews, Beverly Randolph, John Philbin, Jewel Shepard, Miguel A. Nunez Jr., and Linnea Quigley.
You added a vowel to John Philbin's name.
Did I?
Yeah, you said Philbin.
Oh, did? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see my eyes creating a letter in there somewhere. Yeah, I had picked this movie because this one, I think I said last time as well, that this was the zombie movie. This was my first ever one. So this is what I thought was the precedent for all zombies, period.
What a world to live in.
Right? I had thought they were all... What's funny is I remember them being slow, like Walking Dead type stuff. Well, not you get it, but like slow and like they yelled brains a lot. So that was always just a thing. So imagine my disbelief when there's zombie movies out there that none of them say fucking brains ever. How dare they?
How are we supposed to know what they want?
I don't know. I would just assume they want brains, but sometimes they eat flesh. Shit's fucked up. So yeah, I wanted to kind of take a trip down memory lane as far as the review went, because I did watch it the week before I recommended this movie as far as our next episode. And I figured I wanted to pick your brain. I hate myself so much for that about it. So yeah, that's kind of the what the hell's going on here.
Yeah.
I still haven't rated this movie. I want to say that right off the bat. I don't know what I want to do with that.
I rated it. Yeah. So there are definitely a lot of things I like about this. I love the fact that they're using Night of or Dawn of the Dead or Night of the Living Dead. What is it? The original one. Is that Night of the... God, why can't I remember what the original one's called? Hold on.
You know what's funny? Same here.
I know it's of the dead.
It's Dawn of the Dead and
Night of the Living Dead. Okay.
Okay.
With this being called Return of the Living Dead, I wasn't sure if Night of the Living Dead is what it is called. So Night of the Living Dead, they use that as a precedent for this movie, where I love that they're just like, that George A. Romero flick is based on true stories, but they had to change a lot of it so they wouldn't get sued. I thought that was very clever, kind of building the world there. It's building this world as our world. We have all heard and seen of that movie, presumably. And I like how some of the zombies were kind of smart, like the one zombie who called for more EMTs.
Yep, and more cops after.
Yeah. I thought that was really clever. But as far as this being a horror comedy, in my opinion, it wasn't enough of either. It was not enough comedy and not enough horror. It's still a fine movie, but I feel like it couldn't pick a side. Whereas
it was in that dead zone there.
Where Shaun of the Dead is like 75% comedy, 25% horror.
Yeah. And then it doubles down on the kind of like horror parts or like tear-jerking parts.
Yeah, and then there's 28 Days Later, of course, which is like 99% horror, 1% comedy. There are some really funny parts in 28 Days Later. But this, I feel like it straddled the line too much. It didn't lean one way or another, and it was a detriment to the film in a way. Also, whoever wrote and designed the punks in this, I'm convinced they have never seen a punk in their entire life. Because if you ever meet a punk, they're usually like the happiest people in the room. Maybe not like inwardly, but like outwardly, they're always like having a good time. And in this, they're just like moody as fuck.
Well, that's what I'm gonna hold you right there for a second while we're on that.
I'm holding.
That's where at least one of the characters they got right on that. The rest of them they didn't. Just one they got right.
Was it Spider?
And was that what is that the guy's name? Is it Spider?
Miguel.
Suicide. The first punk that got killed off. Because he's sitting there with the group, and they're all going fucking crazy, and then Trash starts kind of like dancing up after she did her whole naked dance part.
Yeah.
And she's like dancing up on Suicide, and he's just like, I've got a lot more to say. Just because I look this way doesn't mean I don't have things to say, and like. He's like going on this like tangent of like how he's not just how he looks and how he's much more than that, and he's just not some piece of shit. And Trash is like, I don't care, I like spooky or something like that. And then he like shoves her off him, and he's like, have some respect for the dead.
Yeah.
And that's like the only one of those. Spider, I really liked Spider, period. But Suicide was the one character out of that group that actually made sense as far as that character like depiction and looks went. Yeah,
I feel like he was too angry in the beginning, but like towards the the middle and end of his arc, yes, I would agree. But like he started off way too angry.
He was pissed.
Yeah, eventually he got there. But
what? I don't even remember why he was so angry.
I think just picking up the main guy, Fred. I think his name Freddie. I don't remember. It was all bullshit. Whatever he was complaining about. But. Yeah, like from that speech onward, he's pretty accurate. But yeah, like it's such a weird tonally film. Like some parts are serious, some parts are funny, some parts are trying to be funny and they're not. And it's weird. It's got great effects as usual. You can't make a zombie movie in the 80s, 85. Yeah, 85 without having good effects. But it left a lot for me to desire and everything. I wasn't too impressed with it, but I also didn't hate it.
Yeah, there's always been throughout my life that has stuck out to me, and that's the original one that came out of the container. Yeah, just that look is always what stuck with me. And seeing it again when he says brains, I'm like, he doesn't even look like he's mouthing brains. It makes me sad.
Well, that's because he doesn't have lips.
Yeah.
How can he say brains without lips?
Yeah, you do have a point there, and that's what I must say. Where are them lips at?
Where are them lips? We need more zombie lips.
We need more zombie lips. But that specific zombie's always stuck out to me as far as like most zombie movies, honestly. And even though this movie's not that great, I mean, just that look on its own was solid enough.
It's certainly a great design. However, you can tell that you could see his skin behind the makeup, and it's just painted black. I mean, again, it's the 80s. It's probably low budget, presumably low budget. I'm not really trying to knock it, but it's a good design, but with high definition 4K streaming that we have now.
Yep.
You
notice
can
a
see
lot.
you notice a lot. But I mean, it's again once like the zombie outbreak started, other than like a few comedic points with like the zombie calling for backup for the EMTs and everything, it was just too serious. It wasn't like Shaun of the Dead where there's like 10 minutes. I know I'm mentioning Shaun of the Dead a lot, but it's because that's for me is like the height of horror comedy. And this just I don't think it knew what it wanted to be. Personally,
I think, in my humble opinion, I think it's a lot better than most B movies as far as like horror goes. Way bounds better than most.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It still isn't great in any remorse. A lot of the characters get really fucking annoying.
Yes.
Especially Clu Gallagher. I think him, period. Guy was always pissed off. In some scenes, it was funny. Like, it was genuinely, like, he was just, like, yelling at, what was his name? Bert? Or, Freddie?
Frank.
I can't remember.
Frank.
Frank,
Or
yes,
Frank is the older guy, and then Bert.
Yeah. He was always
Freddy's the
yelling
younger
at
guy.
Frank. He's like, get it together, Frank! Come on, goddammit! Just, like, yelling at him right off riff. But then he just yell at everybody else. And it was like, it got too much and, like, kind of overwhelming at points.
Yeah.
I think Frank kind of, where he had points where he was doing good, so James Cameron, where he was doing good, a lot of his actions seemed very, very overacted. But I think Tom Matthews, for the most part, was really good. He didn't really overact. He did pretty solid for most of it. He played Frank.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Freddie. But yeah, there's not too much that stands out as far as the movie goes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's got a really good following, so I don't want to piss you off.
I mean, horror movies are always gonna have a good following. I'm a casual horror movie fan. A lot of my favorite movies are horror movies, but they're usually and I hate this term personally, the quote unquote elevated horror. I hate that because it makes it sound like it thinks it's better than normal horror, and if you ask all the elevated horror directors, they would probably, like 9 out of 10 of them would probably say that their movies aren't better than like schlocky horror. But it's, where was I going with it? Oh yeah, so the one thing I love about horror fans is how passionate they are. I wish all genres had as passionate of fans. You could say Marvel has passionate fans like that, but also Marvel fans don't really respect the art of the filmmaking. They just they go there to point out, like, to make sure they go to the theaters opening night so people know that they know a lot about things. And so whenever they see something on screen, they go, oh. Whereas if you go to an opening night of a horror movie, the crowds are 99 times out of 100. The crowds are great. Yeah, and so I have a lot of respect for horror fans.
And I know, like, my sister and my dad love horror, B movie and C movie horror specifically. I've never been behind them that much. Like, I mean, they were most of the times fun, but never really like good.
Yeah.
But they love the shit out of them, and my dad sometimes still invites me to go see really shitty ones from time to time. Like, I don't want to see that. It's all you, buddy. I'm sorry.
My dad's big on sci-fi, so sometimes they cross over sci-fi and horror, but my dad mainly likes things like Lost in Space and space travel things. But yeah, I mean, this movie was fine. I thought it was hilarious that during the credits they just played highlights from the movie. Like, just in case you forgot what happened. It wasn't even bloopers or anything. It was literally just highlights, just showing scenes that happened in the movie again.
Yeah.
I thought that was so... I don't know what the thought process is behind that. I would love to ask Dan O'Bannon what he was thinking. But
especially the skeleton one. Like, they already had the skeleton one pop up out of the grave, and then they had it again right before the credits.
Well, that was the first one. That was the first part of the little montage. I was like, Are they hinting that there's going to be a second one, or
Was it? Because I could have sworn that he popped up right before the credits started rolling.
Well, he did. It was a freeze frame on
and
him.
then it went into the credits with it.
But like, what I mean is like he started the montage even if the credits weren't happening yet. But I was like, they showed this before.
Mm-hmm. Also, a skeleton coming back, just kind of. I was like, what, a skeleton? Really?
Just stick a dog on it.
If it's a skeleton comes back, then that means anything that's. I mean, that's the point, I guess.
Also, that skeleton's too clean. Also, and I know this is a B movie. I know it's not meant to be taken seriously.
We have to put that into
Eyes are the first thing to rot in a human body. How did that skeleton have eyes? And also, how did it have eyelids? I just remembered it has eyelids. What?
Yeah. But no zombie lips, by the way.
I'm not afraid to admit that this film might have some accuracy issues.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
I think we need to tell Mr. Dan about
Mr.
this.
Dan O'Bannon, I believe he's dead. Yeah, he's dead.
Probably, yeah.
Well, let's spray some chemicals on his grave.
Yeah, we got to let him know. Put some acid rain on him.
I just learned this about Dan O'Bannon before you came on and we started recording. He wrote the first Alien movie.
Did he?
And that movie's fucking brilliant. So,
yeah.
He's got some skill. And that's not saying that this movie isn't well written or anything. It is.
You got some skill.
They're two completely different things, Alien and Return of the Living Dead. Well, I mean, he didn't write this. I think he just directed it. Oh, no, he wrote it. He wrote he wrote it.
Because he also helped write Night of the Dead.
Yeah.
And then so I told you this last week. It was like I re-looked it up. It was like a trivia thing. So him and good old George wrote together that movie, and then when they tried to get George back and be like, hey, you want to help, right? Yeah, I guess he kind of remembered or something that his sequels to that movie would be called the Living Dead sequels, and then George's would be just the Dead sequels.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that, but I kind of
it didn't
really click then. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, this movie overall is very okay. I mean, horror fans are gonna love it obviously because they love the gore and the makeup. I will say, the yellow zombie that just looks like a skinny Homer Simpson, crash dummy. That was how is a body in a freezer yellow? That yellow, at least. I know there's jaundice and rigor mortis. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Have you ever seen a cadaver, sir?
I have not actually.
Neither
I've
have
only
I.
I've only seen my grandparents' bodies when they were dead. In funeral, it wasn't like I found them.
Oh, okay. I was like, that got dark.
after they had already been preserved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen a cadaver, so I don't think they're yellow. I could be wrong, but they're definitely not that yellow. Can we agree that they're not?
Maybe
that
they make
yellow?
us colorblind until after the funeral. Then all the actual yellow just is actually there. Oh,
well, I mean,
theories.
I think a more simple explanation is that they put a shit ton of makeup on bodies.
Oh.
There's a whole art. There's a movie called Bernie with Jack Black that's based on a true story where he works at a funeral home. And he, I think it's Bernie. Oh, let me see. Yeah, a mortician. Yeah. So, he's this art. He makes people look alive. It's an industry. The makeup on dead people industry. So yeah, it's not that they make us colorblind. Although that would be pretty funny. That would be hilarious.
I'm telling you, man.
We could just put foundation, but let's create this super elaborate issue where we just
we're just colorblind everybody. It's like a pheromone thing. As soon as they walk in the room, all bodies turn normal colors. Yeah. But yeah, as far as B movies goes, I think this is up there for the most part, especially horror ones.
Yeah,
but I mean, still, it's good fun.
Yes, it annoyed me more than I wanted it to, but it was still fun. But yeah, that's all I got to say.
The good news is that it's quick. So that's a little relishing factor on it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, That's all I got really to talk about it, I guess.
So that brings us to the judgment for the return of the living dead. I don't know why I said it like that. As always, it needs to be a unanimous decision whether or not it goes on the KFR shelf for the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden and nothing else. Those are the only two.
Yeah.
Glenn,
Yes.
you picked this movie. Sorry, the trailer's going and the eyelid skeleton just came up.
Yeah.
You picked this movie, so you go first with the judgment. Does Return of the Living Dead become a little shelf boy?
Listen, this movie, it had its fun. For the most part, it was, but sometimes it wasn't. And, how dare it not do all fun all time? I don't know. I think for the most part,
Why
it's
use
fine.
lot of word when little word do
Why
trick?
use all brain when half brain good? Then zombies don't eat everything. I don't know. It doesn't. I don't think it goes on the shelf, but I think it's a fun little quality movie, especially if you're just kind of throwing something on in the background during Spooktober. Who knows?
Yes. So I think for my judgment, we need to do the B movie checklist.
Yeah.
Slightly comedic, slightly bad writing, check. Over the top acting, check. Inconsistent special effects, check. Gratuitous nudity, check. It marks all those checks. This is indeed a B movie. That has nothing to do with whether or not it goes on the shelf, so I don't know why I said that. I think I was hoping for a little bit more. I think I said it at the top best I could, where I wish it either leaned into horror or leaned into comedy instead of straddling the two. So I think I don't think it goes on. The wetness of the melting zombie is just so wet.
He's damp.
Did someone feed that actor? I hope he didn't have to touch his food.
Apparently, most of the actors actually ate calf brains. So there's that. If you want to.
I mean, calf
think about
brains
it.
is a delicacy in other countries. So I personally would be a little upset if my crafty person did a themed spread with brains. But, that's just me.
I am probably going to watch the other Return of the Living Deads if
Part
they are
2?
on. Yeah, I'm just curious what the fuck they're gonna do story wise after this one, because if you can't kill them, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Or going to do?
Yeah.
I want to see if they're on any platforms though. But I mean, other than that,
Yeah, so regardless, the Return of the Living Dead does not make it on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. That brings us to our assignment for next week. Oh, week 3. Week 3 already of the Spooktacular Spooktober.
so close yet so far.
This, of course, is the first streaming roulette week of the Spooktacular Spooktober. For those of you who don't know, we have this very real wheel that is giant. It's normally the size of Rhode Island, but now we've only have the horror genre to pick from. So now it is like the size of the country or the city Warwick in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not Providence. It's not as big as Providence. I don't know which of those is bigger. People from Rhode Island are probably just ripping their hair out right now. Anyway, we spin the wheel 3 times, and we pick which of those 3 we would rather watch. Of course, it has to be at least a year old. And, yeah. Anyway, without any further ado, here comes the first spin. The Brood. Ooh, that's a interesting thing. Let's see where this is going to be on HBO Max. Hour 32 minutes, 1979, 6.8 out of 10. A man tries to uncover an unconventional psychologist's therapy techniques on his institutionalized wife amidst a series of brutal murders. Ooh, it's written and directed by David Cronenberg.
Who wouldn't?
Got ourselves a little David Cronenberg movie. You sane people. That's
Oh,
who.
you got me there.
Starring Oliver Reed, Samantha Egger, Art Hindle, Henry Beckman, and I'm trying to see if there's anyone that we would recognize. No. But yeah, David Cronenberg film, The Brood, that is available on HBO Max. That is our first choice for the streaming roulette. Here comes spin number 2. Kronos. I have seen this, full disclosure. It is directed by Guillermo del Toro.
Oh.
Yes. Hold on. Where is it?
Also on HBO.
That is also on HBO. Did HBO pay
Yeah,
streaming roulette the way?
bribing us?
Yeah. So it's written and directed by Guillermo del Toro, starring Federico Lupi, Ron Perlman, Claudio Brook, Margarita Isabel, and a few other people. Mostly, I believe they're Mexican, if not Spanish. Actors. A mysterious device designed to provide its owner with eternal life resurfaces after 400 years, leaving a trail of destruction in its path. Hour 34 minutes, 6.7 out of 10. We're in the 90-minute range right now for both.
We're doing great.
We're doing fantastic. Anyway, that is
Thanks,
Kronos.
HBO.
Thanks, HBO Max. Soon to be HBO Max Discovery or whatever the fuck it's going to be. Here comes spin number 3. I don't think this should count. A Justice League Dark Apocalypse, spelled horribly. War.
That's the guy's name, Apocalypse.
It's spelled horribly.
Yep.
Whoever came up with that name should be drawn and quartered.
To be fair, I did see this movie, so there's that.
I'm too mad. You're gonna have to stop me if you don't agree. The spelling of apocalypse in this should disqualify this movie.
I mean, that's fine with me.
It's making me so mad.
Apocalypse.
I'm so mad at that spelling. APOKOLIPS.
It's got Rosario Dawson and
I don't care.
And Tony Todd and Jerry O'Connell.
A lot of those people are in
And John
movies
DiMaggio.
that don't have apocalypse spelled OPOKOLIPS.
I mean, that's fine with me. We can
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse.
I need to hold on. I need to reset. Okay.
That's
spinning.
also on HBO Max.
Yeah, spinning again. The Exorcist. Hey, we got a classic.
Oh, there you go.
The Exorcist. I have seen this.
We've
I'm
both
assuming
seen
you
this,
have.
and I
Yeah.
just very recently saw it in theaters.
Oh yes, I remember. You didn't invite me. I'm very upset about that.
I'm a piece of shit.
Yes. 2 hours, 2 minutes, not in that 90-minute range. 8.1 out of 10. I saw this little fun fact. I saw a play version of this in Dublin.
Oh, I think you told me about that, actually.
Yeah, it was fascinating to see a play version of it, especially in Dublin, just because, they're big on theater. When a teenage girl is possessed by a mysterious entity, her mother seeks the help of 2 priests to save her daughter. I did not stutter on any single synopsis today. I would like some gratitude and some praise from you, Glenn. Thank you. It is directed by William Friedkin, written by William Peter Blatty. It says written for the screen, but I don't see any other names there. He did the novel as well. William Peter Blatty is starring Ellen Burstyn, Max von Sydow, rest in peace, Linda Blair, Lee J. Cobb, rest in peace, and several other people. It's The Exorcist. Where is this one going to be? This is going to be on HBO Max.
Is it?
So who is paying RealGood.com to show only HBO Max movies on their roulette?
We? No, not us.
We don't have
They should be
HBO Max
paying
money.
us.
I don't even pay for the HBO Max. I steal it from my brother-in-law.
I sadly I do.
Okay, so we. This has been longer than our discussion on the returning of
for
the
real.
Living Dead. We have The Brood, Kronos, and The Exorcist. Which piques your interest the most?
Neither of us have seen The Brood, right?
Correct.
You've
and then
seen
I have
Kronos.
seen Kronos, and we have both seen The
Kronos
Exorcist.
is the one that intrigues me the most because it's
Okay.
Guillermo del Toro and did I say Toro, and a young Ron Perlman, which I would like to see part of. I saw The Exorcist already. I saw it plenty of times. It's fucking good. That's as far as I'll leave that.
Yeah.
Maybe a future podcast, but I think we crossed that one right off the list.
Yeah.
But I mean, both The Brood and Kronos sound good. You know me, I like to pick movies that neither of us have seen. So I'm kind of leaning that one, although I think I'm going to put Kronos on my watch list regardless.
Yeah. I think you should put Kronos. Everyone should put Kronos on their watch list, but I am in agreement with you where we should watch one we both haven't seen, especially since we both picked movies that we had seen for the first 2 weeks.
True.
So let's pick The Brood.
They come from the unknown, and they're here now, hiding, waiting to strike. You can feel their presence all around you. Never before have you come this close to the edge of terror. Never before have you faced anything so strange and sinister, so bizarre and unnerving. Never until now. David Cronenberg's The Brood.
Are you ready for me, Frank? I seem to be a very special person now. I'm in the middle of a strange adventure.
I want to go with you wherever you go.
Do you?
Yes.
Then look!
All right, The Brood.
So, The Brood, directed and written by David Cronenberg on HBO Max, is our assignment for next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com, on Instagram, we're Keystone_film_review, Twitter, Keystone_film, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Keystone Film Review, and on Letterboxd, I'm Mike, KFR.
And I'm Glenn, KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we watch The Brood. It's probably got body horror in it because that's what David Cronenberg is known for. He's Canadian, but he likes to be a little rude with the body.
Sorry, eh?
What's that all about?
What's
I'm
it
sorry,
about?
Mr. Cronenberg. I know you probably don't talk like
Where's
that.
the blood?
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Breathe.